back. We're in the My Bernina Presser Feet and Accessories Workbook, and you can download that from the first episode of this under the description section. There's a link there for you to download the workbook if you want it. We're on page 11. We're going to start with the hem-stitched seam. So we ended with the faggoted seam on the last one using the tailor tack foot, which is this one. And now we're going to use the Spanish hem stitch attachment. Which is really kind of a slick thing. It's really fun. It makes you kind of want to think of things you can do with it.
We did some pretty neat things in that one.
In the academy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's various stitch plates that you can. There's a 9mm, I think it's a 7mm, and then
there's another one. So they're all different widths. So there's skinny ones, medium ones, fat ones.
This is the big one.
That's the big one.
Yeah. So that's 9mm.
Okay.
So we're going to use the 9mm.
Okay. And then there's a plate that comes with it.
And this little
handy dandy screwdriver and a screw. So what you're going to do is you're going to attach this foot thing, or it's a spacer is what it is. You're going to attach the spacer to the foot.
And there's like a little nib
peg
that's hanging out, which is going to go into this hole right here on your plate.
That keeps it in place.
So you're going to kind of slide that on, just like that. And then there's that little nodule thing sticking out. So I'm going to put that and put that into that hole and lay that down. There's also this has like a little hook that hooks into the second hole. And then we're going to screw that on. You don't have to tighten it real tight.
No.
And then you have your 20D
selected.
Now, do I need my dual feet?
Well,
probably, right?
I would.
Okay. Now, you would use a decorative thread. Something,
I would.
A pretty, like Isacord or something, a pretty thread. Now, did you tell me to start at 5/8, about 5/8 inch down, or?
Okay, so we've got, first of all, we've got 5/8 inch by 8 inch pieces of ribbon. We got a couple pieces of ribbon. And we've also got some narrow cording that we're going to use in the next thing. It's asking us for polyester or rayon embroidery thread, which we did not put on. We just have regular Orfill. So ours is not going to look as pretty as it would if we had that. We've got Spanish hem stitch number 47. That's this whole box set here. We have our open embroidery foot, our 20C or 20D. We are using the 20D. Needle position is in the center. Okay. And then there is a picture at the bottom of page 11 of a bunch of different decorative stitches. We have chosen stitch 702, which is in the 700 folder of the 790 machine. But you can choose any of the ones that look like those variations. Okay.
Now, do I want to go up to my 9mm width?
We will. Okay. So first of all, you're attaching your 20D, which we did. You're putting your hem stitch attachment on. You're going to put one piece of ribbon on each side of the spacer. Nudge it right up against that spacer. Select one of your decorative stitches, which we have, 702, and then adjust the width to the same as the spacer. So we're using the 9mm spacer, so we're going to switch it to 9mm. If you were using a 7mm spacer, you would switch it to 7. Okay? Stitch the length of the ribbons to join them.
So I'm going to hold that ribbon on either side.
Your job all the way through this is just to make sure that those ribbons feed in, nudge against either side of that spacer. And then the foot will do its work.
See, you could do this on fabric too then.
Another one of those things you want to just down big layouts for doll clothes, wedding dresses. You can make some really cute embellishments on bags and things.
It's really just thinking outside of the box for different ideas of what to do with things.
Okay. So now, if you look at that, you can see how we've just joined those. I hope you can see that's white thread. I hope you can see that. It's just joined that. It would be much, much, much prettier in a decorative thread.
Real pretty.
It's in Orifil, but you get the idea what it would look like. Now we're going to show you a little bit different technique. So now, on your Spanish hem stitching attachment, it has a groove leading all the way down the middle of it. So we're actually going to take a piece of cording. This is a decorative cording, and we're going to lay it in that groove. And we're going to stitch a ribbon to the other side of it using, we can use a different stitch or the same stitch, it doesn't matter, showing you how that looks with a cord down the middle.
Okay. Here goes. I'm trusting you, Lisa. Yep. That's on my finger. So you just kind of leave that cord alone.
It should just pull it through.
I'm going to cut it now.
Okay. And so now you've got, it's got the cord running in it. You could put,
So it would be, stitched down at either end because that cord will come out right now.
right,
So you would just stitch it down. And I think a different stitch, it would look much neater.
yeah. But you get the idea.
You could put razzle dazzle in
You could. Razzle dazzle.
So that's that.
Okay, so that's your Spanish hem stitch attachment. It's really kind of cool. Fun stuff. All right. Now the next thing we're going to do, once Laurie gets all this stuff detached, is we're going to use the 10D. The 10D foot. Again, we're using the D because we're using a dual feed machine. The 10D is kind of your edge stitching foot. It has a blade going down right in the middle, but that blade doesn't go past where your stitch is. So you're not stitching over the blade this time. This time the blade is meant to go in your seam. So if you're stitching in the ditch or edge stitching, you can use that to figure out where your stitch is going to go. Okay, so we are going to use this edge stitching attachment. Where are those two black ribbons?
Put it.
Laurie talks to her machine a lot. Okay, we're using the D, so the dual feed is going to go down, and we're going to select foot number 10D.
And why don't I can just go on this side.
Okay, cool.
Put those in. Okay, what are we gonna set our?
So we are going to use cotton, polyester, or rayon embroidery thread. We're putting on 10D. They are actually saying 10D is not recommended for this technique because it's not going to feed a single layer as precisely as a 10 or a 10C. Whatever, we'll try it, see what happens. needle center position, decorative stitch of choice.
Okay. So, we're gonna do that one. Do this one.
Okay, you could do, instead of that, you
We
could
can do it on here, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it on one of these, but we need to get a finished edge. So what we're gonna do is basically just connect these two pieces of fabric. There you go. And Laurie is gonna put those right along the center guide. So that blade that I showed you guys, she's gonna put those pieces of fabric right along that center guide. And then she's just gonna sew it.
I'm not watching how it's stitching. The machine knows how to stitch it. I'm watching where that guide is.
Now look how cool that is. Isn't that neat?
It's really fun.
Mm-hmm. Of course, we're still using our cotton
Yeah.
Orfil thread, which didn't give an effect as nice as it could have on this. This would have been way prettier if we'd have done it with an embroidery thread, but you do get the idea. But the cotton thread on full coverage looks real good.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty.
So it'd be better if the loose coverage would be better with the embroidery thread, but that one looks really nice. That looks very neat. Okay. So that's edge joining with a number 10D, which we didn't have any problem with that 10D. It worked just fine. Both sides.
Yeah.
And you can see how closely it joined them. Look at that. How nice and neatly those meet. Both sides.
The 10D is one of my favorite
Nice.
feet.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay. All right, let's make a flat felled seam. How about them apples?
Green or yellow or red
Green or red?
apples.
Oh, no, I like red. Okay, let's take 10D off. We're gonna put 71 on. So 71, it's got like a tongue on it on the left side that has an angle to it. And that's meant for your fabric to kind of wrap around it. Kind of a thing. Okay, so we're gonna select foot number 71. We're using our cotton thread. We got our needle in center position. Center position for foot 70, half left for 71.
Okay,
Pull it
so
out of that. And you're
then we're
gonna go needle position half left, so you're gonna move that,
oh, you gotta change something here.
yeah, you're on a decorative stitch.
Yeah.
You need a straight stitch. Okay,
And then we're going to
you're gonna go 2 positions left. 2, 3. There you go.
okay.
So half left, you've got five needle positions to the left. Half would be right at 3. Okay. You're gonna pin the wrong sides of your fabric together, the bottom layer extending. Yep.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fold the lower piece over the top piece. Like that.
Okay, so you're putting right sides together, or wrong sides together, right?
Wrong sides of the fabric together.
Yeah. Okay.
Bottom layer extending a half an inch for foot number 71. There you go. Fold the lower piece over the top piece.
Like this?
Slide it under the presser foot. Aligning the fold with the inner right toe. Okay, so 4 stitches. Needle down, lift your presser foot, guide your fabric into the slot over the left toe of the foot, stitch the remainder of the seam.
Like this?
Allowing the fabric to stand up as it enters the slot.
Okay. Let's try it.
Let's see what
Not how slick is that? Now I would though move the needle one more
to 4.
One more, I do it 4. But there is your.
Okay, now step 5.
Mm-hmm.
Slide the seam under the presser foot so the first stitching is visible in the slot. So 4 stitches, lower the needle into the fabric.
So they want this stitching to show.
Okay, stop, needle down. Load the fabric into the slot over the crook of the left toe.
No, that's wrong. We have to go. We have to go to the other end.
Oh, oops.
Go like this. And that needs to. You want to see that stitching, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The first stitching is visible in the slot.
Okay. Now.
Okay, now needle down, lift the foot, put that over the tongue. There you go. And now stitch the rest. And et voila, there you have a very professional, say like a denim for your jeans, or you could use that in a coat, you could use that in a bag. There's a lot of applications for that stitch. Look how nice that stitch is. Now look on the inside of it.
It's all encased.
Everything's encased, no raw edges either side.
Yeah.
How slick is that?
And what else are they using this foot for?
Oh, we use that foot for binding, for sewing binding on. So you sew your binding to your top of your quilt, fold it under, and then you start just like we did here. So you take 3-4 stitches, stop, needle down, then you take
You bring that fold. You
fold
bring it. You're bringing it.
I'm sorry, you sew your stitch, I just said that backwards.
Yeah, you did.
Sew your binding to the bottom of your quilt. Okay, then go to the top. So 3-4 stitches, stop, needle down, foot up, pull your binding up, put it into that tongue like she did when she was doing this, and then stitch along. And it'll stitch your top of your binding real neatly on the top, and the stitch will come just slightly to the inside of your
quilt, the back.
your binding on the back. Yeah, it's very nice.
Great for table runners,
Yes.
children's quilts. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've had to resew binding down on the grandkids' quilts.
This is pretty professional looking, huh?
Yeah. We are.
We're professionals.
We are.
No amateurs here. All right. That finished up our seams and our seams. That's our seams. We've done all of our seams. So we're going to close this one up with the knowledge that we're professionals. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.